The machinery of a superpower awakens as ground crews verify the final structural integrity of massive landing gear before departure. The pilot fights heavy rain resistance, pushing engines to maximum thrust for a critical departure through thick mist and spray. Formation leaders maintain precise spacing to project a unified display of aerial strength across the pale blue horizon. Mission Branding Tactical Command USA is established as the official signal for the Middle East movement across all channels. A ground controller guides the massive C-17 through low visibility taxi, ensuring wingtips clear nearby obstacles in the downpour. A maintainer performs a lookup check, visually confirming no fluid leaks are present during the critical engine startup sequence. Flight line crews prep external power units to keep avionics live while pilots run through pre-flight checklists systematically. Deployment begins in earnest as the first wave of support personnel prepares to board the heavy transport aircraft. The marshaller takes position, using his body as a beacon for the pilot in the high cockpit above. The elephant walk begins, a massive show of force where dozens of planes line the runway simultaneously. The logistics of deployment are calculated in tons of fuel and cargo capacity across the entire fleet. The KC-46 Pegasus enters the queue, representing the next generation of aerial refueling technology for long-range missions. Pride of the Midwest, the Sioux City Air National Guard prepares their tankers for the long flight east. The pilot checks rudder and elevators, feeling the massive control surfaces respond to every input command. The aircraft enters the active runway, the last moment of ground contact before the journey across the Atlantic. Heavy liftoff commences as the pilot pulls the nose up, engines screaming as they battle gravity itself. A support truck clears the runway path, ensuring no debris interferes with the high-speed launches ahead. The C-5 Galaxy, largest in the fleet, arrives to handle the heaviest mechanical cargo for overseas deployment. The big stick of the Air Force, the B-52 bomber, takes to the sky to provide strategic deterrence. Multiple bombers occupy the airspace, a sight rarely seen outside of major global escalations and conflicts. The B-52 crew maintains low altitude during touch-and-go maneuvers, demonstrating the bomber's immense lift capability under load. The pilot of the KC-46 Pegasus prepares for departure, the aircraft's sleek design cutting through hazy air. The crew monitors systems as the Pegasus transitions to high-altitude flight, disappearing into the cloud layer. The pilot executes a stabilized approach with landing lights cutting through the murky weather conditions below. The aircraft turns onto the taxiway, its mission phase complete as it returns to the parking apron. Ground crews conduct detailed inspection of the C-5 Galaxy's complex landing gear system before next deployment. The loadmaster confirms the gear is secure as a heavy cargo loader approaches the massive aircraft. Coordination between flight deck and ground team is essential to keep the tight deployment schedule on track. A loadmaster directs the K-loader into the cavernous belly of the Galaxy with precision hand signals. Precision loading ensures every inch of space is used efficiently for the long-haul flight across oceans. The loadmaster calculates center of gravity as the M777 howitzer is winched carefully into the bay. A soldier double-checks heavy-duty chains to prevent cargo shift during high-altitude turbulence over the Atlantic. The fuel team initiates high-pressure transfer to top off the C-5 for its transcontinental flight mission. The gas passers manage heavy hoses, fighting the internal pressure of the fuel flow into aircraft tanks. The fueling supervisor monitors gauges closely, ensuring the C-5 reaches its maximum takeoff weight safely. A specialized combat unit arrives at the flight line, their faces hidden behind ballistic eyewear and helmets. The squad leader checks his comms and gear before the final walk-up into the waiting transport. The interior of the C-17 is prepped with cargo pallets already secured, leaving only side jump seats. In the cockpit, the pilot flips final switches to initialize the flight management system for departure. The final boarding call is made as soldiers march up the rear ramp as a single unit. A heavy forklift operator maneuvers a 10,000-pound pallet onto the aircraft's ramp with surgical precision. Two ground controllers observe tail clearance, using radios to guide the pilot during reverse taxi maneuvers. The troops settle into red nylon jump seats as the reality of deployment begins setting. A paratrooper adjusts his night vision mount, ensuring his tactical advantages are locked in and ready. The pilot in command confirms the weather ceiling is safe for a heavyweight departure from base. The C-17 pilot engages thrust reversers after landing roll, massive engines roaring to slow the beast. The aircraft arrives at Dover Air Force Base, the premier hub for personnel moving to overseas theaters. An engine mechanic performs visual check of turbine blades for any signs of bird strike damage. Power-up commences as the engine fan becomes a blur of gray steel with fuel added. The 437th Airlift Wing from Charleston joins the mobilization, bringing additional cargo capacity to the fleet. The marshaller uses wide sweeping motions to bring the massive plane to precise stop on refueling line. The ground controller signals chocks in, indicating the aircraft is officially secure for ground operations. The aircraft's profile reveals battle-hardened skin of a plane with thousands of mission hours logged. Tail number 66,156 marks this as a veteran of previous Middle Eastern deployments, now returning.
Power up. The engine fan becomes a blur of gray steel as the pilot adds fuel to the combustion chamber.
The 437th Airlift Wing from Charleston joins the mobilization, bringing additional cargo capacity to the fleet.
Chocks in.
The aircraft's profile reveals the battle-hardened skin of a plane that has flown thousands of mission hours.
The KC-10 extender crew brings the massive tri-jet refueler onto runway, its cargo capacity vital. The pilot manages crosswind landing, keeping nose gear straight as tires fight for traction below. Ground crews at Travis prepare for quick turn, refueling the refuelers to keep air bridge open. A C-17 pilot pushes limits of short field performance, rotating the heavy plane early for tactical climb. The climb out continues as the aircraft's gray shadow sweeps across airfield, turning toward overseas heading. The aircraft becomes a silhouette against the sun, a lone gray dot carrying enough supplies. The flight crew enters quiet phase of journey, monitoring instruments while flying through heavy clouds. Back at base, another C-17 returns from local training sortie to pick up next wave. The pilot aligns wheels with centerline, ensuring smooth transition for the sensitive cargo inside. A heavy aircraft maneuvers over landing lights, its profile cutting through the gray mist below. The C-5 Galaxy descends through thick overcast layer, pilots relying entirely on instrument landing system. The strategic formation provides visual warning to any who would challenge the movement of forces. The tankers begin to break formation, each heading to their assigned refueling track over Atlantic. From the cockpit, the pilot watches refueling boom lower, preparing to receive fuel from aircraft. The boom operator makes the contact call, locking the fuel nozzle into the receiver port. Fuel begins to flow at thousands of pounds per minute as aircraft are tethered together. Disconnect occurs as mission fuel has been transferred and aircraft pulls away for the next. The C-5 pilot looks over his shoulder as he overtakes another plane in the formation. With high altitude, low temperature conditions mean wings are cold soaked as Galaxy pushes toward Middle East. The boom operator looks through observation window, guiding the next receiver into proper position. The pilot monitors primary flight display, ensuring altitude remains constant during the delicate refueling operation. The mission is nearly complete as tankers descend back toward recovery base in Europe. The KC-46 Pegasus returns to ground, its modern flight controls making the landing look effortless. News reports confirm the scale of mobilization, noting it as largest in recent military history. Analysts weigh deployment against previous years, noting strategic similarities to high-tension years of past. The final wave of refuelers lands at Al-Udeid, completing the air bridge from USA to US. Military explains the move as deterrent, aimed at strengthening defensive posture regionally. Strategic options are expanded as more personnel and equipment reach their forward deployment points overseas. The final C-17 arrives, its hold filled with specialized units needed for Phase 1 operations. The mobilization is complete, the fleet is in position, the message is sent, and the world watches.
High altitude, low temperature. The wings are cold-soaked as the galaxy pushes toward the Middle East.
You're lined up, hold that position, preparing for contact. Steady, steady.
The mission is nearly complete as the tankers descend back toward a recovery base in Europe or the Middle East.
News reports confirm the scale of the mobilization, noting it as the largest in recent military history.
Weighing this deployment against previous years, analysts note the strategic similarities to high-tension areas, particularly the autumn 2025 deployment.
The U.S. military explains the move as a deterrent, aimed at strengthening the defensive posture in the region.
The final C-17 touchdown confirmed. Phase 1 assets are now on the ground.
The mobilization is complete. The fleet is in position. The message